What counts as griefing? This is important to discuss as often players feel frustrated with their teammates. Perhaps the single player might have caused the loss you had to suffer. It's easy to think that a player deserves to be reported for what they did during the match, but it isn't as straightforward as you might think. This is one of many videos in a series I'm doing called the Widowmaker Experiment, where I've purchased an account and played only Widowmaker. I'll leave a link to that playlist in the description. Before we can ask what counts as griefing, we must first ask ourselves, what is griefing? After some research, I've discovered that within the context of Overwatch competitive mode, the definition of griefing is very vague. Generally, any player that deliberately sacrifices the outcome of the match in a negative way to further their own agenda can be considered a griefer. However, some grey areas do exist. You just need to remember that a player must put their own agenda above all else, and the outcome of the match not be their main priority. Just use common sense. A couple of common examples are a player sitting in spawn, moving or shooting occasionally to not be disconnected, but not actually contributing towards the outcome of the match. This is clearly griefing because they've put their teammates in a situation where winning the match will be incredibly difficult, and they're furthering their own agenda more than anything else. A player jumping off a cliff over and over again. Pretty much the same as the last example, they aren't contributing to the match, they're just furthering their own agenda. However, if a player falls off a cliff once, they shouldn't immediately just be reported. A player saying something like, I don't want to win, and then their actions proving this to be true. So this is more of a grey area as well, because it's like, hey, someone might say as a joke, I don't want to win, but again, if they say I don't want to win and then, they're playing Genji and just jumping around outside of where the fight's happening or something like that, then yeah, you probably should just report them. And finally, a couple of really just obvious, clear examples are a player creating a teleporter and making players fall off an edge or a cliff or whatever, and a player blocking teammates with Mei walls over and over again. Once at the start of the game to have a bit of fun, it's fine. I mean, blocking your teammates in spawn for a couple of seconds at the start of the match isn't gonna make the match a loss, so it's, you don't report them for that. But I mean, if they do it over and over again and, block ultimates and prevent players doing it, and they're doing it intentionally, they don't apologize for it, then yeah, report them. Those are some specific examples, but there are obviously more situations where griefing could be reported upon. However, there are some common examples of when someone is doing something that might be a detriment to your team, but it shouldn't be reported, shouldn't result in them being reported for griefing. A player choosing a hero and never switching. This is what I did in my experiment. I was told I was going to be reported many times, and it frustrated me because I was putting in as much effort as I could to win the match. Could I have played Soldier 76 instead of Widowmaker and played better? Probably. Did I sacrifice the outcome of the match to further my own agenda? No. You need to remember that I was putting in as much effort as I could to win the match, which goes against my condition which I gave earlier. If I was doing all I could to win, then I'm not actually putting the outcome of the match below my own agenda. I've got my own agenda, I'm not going to switch off Widowmaker, but I care about winning the match more than anything else. If I truly did care about winning the match more than anything else, though, I probably would switch off Widowmaker, but that's the situation I got myself into, and so I am trying to further the outcome of the match more than my own agenda, which was to play Widowmaker only. A player not using some of his or her abilities. This is a tough one because some might argue that a Mercy who never heals is griefing. I argue that it's not necessarily griefing, it's just that the player chooses to play a hero how they want, and that's important for learning new ways to play Overwatch. If everyone had to play a hero a specific way or be banned, then the gameplay would eventually get stale and everyone would be bored. As a wise man once said,
so predictable.
In conclusion, the community needs to learn the difference between griefing and being a dick. Look, it can be frustrating to be put into a match and see a flaw with how someone is doing something. You just need to remember a couple of things. 1, when you lose SR, it's not the end of the world. It's just a game and you can gain your skill rating back. If nothing else happens other than a loss, then you need to just sit back and enjoy the ride and have fun with it. There's no point being really negative the whole time and carrying that negativity over between matches. Just have fun with it. 2, if someone wants to do something that isn't optimal, like never healing or Mercy or playing Widowmaker only, then try and build a team composition that works with it, rather than giving up and resorting to report the player when all they've truly done is try something a little bit different. I hope you guys did find this video helpful. I hope you guys found it entertaining. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.